Hey, everybody, and welcome to a very special live stream production today. We're going to present to you today the not so technical guide to Switcher Studio. For those of you who don't know, I'm Jason Falls, but you should know because this is coming to you in my stream. If you're unfamiliar with me, thank you for joining, and I hope you're going to learn something fun and cool today, because what I want to do is show you how easy live streaming can be without having crazy equipment or a bunch of technical knowledge and know-how. That's one of the reasons I use Switcher Studio on Digging Deeper, the Tuesday live stream show that I do for Cornet. But today I've put together, partnered with Switcher Studio to put together a really nice live stream production. And I actually have a video that I want to play for you. And there's a reason that I'm using a video instead of doing the whole thing live, because I want to make sure, I make very efficient use of your time today, right? This is kind of a lunch and learn for those of you on the West Coast, maybe a brunch and learn. But I want to make very efficient use of your time today. So I've got a video to play for you that I produced in Switcher Studio, kind of live on the fly. Then I kind of took it into some editing software and kind of tightened a few things up to make sure that I was making real efficient use of your time today. But I wanted to point that out to you before I showed you the video, because there's a lot of people, a lot of marketers, a lot of brands out there who hesitate doing live streaming video like I'm live right now, because they think it has to be perfect and I don't want to mess up. Well, it's okay. Live audiences don't mind if you mess up. They don't mind if you're not perfect. They actually prefer that sort of very real interaction, so that they know that you're, not being sugarcoating anything, that you're being transparent and whatnot. But you can take the recordings of what you do, because when I set up the video that I'm about to show you that has all this in it, you can take the recordings from that in and produce them, edit them, and then upload them later to replace that video, so that your live production winds up, looking in the archived version of it, winds up being a very polished performance that you can go back and edit. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play this video for you. It's less than 15 minutes. So again, this is kind of a lunch and learn, a little bit longer than if you only have a couple minutes with us. You can come back and watch the recording later. But if this is kind of a lunch and learn, brunch and learn for you, this video is less than 15 minutes. I'm going to be watching the comments section. So if you have questions or anything like that while the video is playing, jump into the comment section wherever you're watching the video. Or if you're on Twitter, you can just reply at Jason Falls, or reply to the post where the video is playing, and it will bring in so I can see the comments, and then I can answer your questions either while the video is playing, or I'll come back live after the video is done and entertain any questions you might have. The whole point of this is to make sure that you know that you don't have to have crazy equipment. You don't have to have crazy technical skill or experience to be able to live stream. And so in order to show you that, I'm going to play this video. Now, I started out with the intro and everything. It's a package deal, but I'm doing this intentionally. I wanted to show you that you can actually pre-record package things and present those in your live streams too, for those of you who want to be perfect on certain elements of what you're doing. So sit back and relax and enjoy the not so technical guide to Switcher Studio. Hey, it's Jason Falls. Switcher Studio is one of my go-to tools for live streaming and video production. I often explain it to people by saying it takes the production value of your live streams to a professional level, where some other point-and-click live streaming software leaves a little to be desired. Because Switcher Studio is built by video professionals, it's got a lot of bells, whistles, and technical advantages other softwares do not. But that also means it can sometimes be a little intimidating. Today, I want to show you how you can use Switcher Studio for live stream and video production without needing a degree in television production. It's the not so technical guide to Switcher Studio. I'll show you the basic equipment you'll need, how to set up your Switcher unit for success, and throw in some advice on some simple upgrades to make your live streams look and sound great. Nothing complicated. I'll show you how I plan for my broadcasts and even rehearse to make sure I'm ready. Then I'll show you how you can broadcast a professional, even slick live stream or recorded video without needing crazy equipment, experience, or even knowledge. And I'm going to do all of the production right here in Switcher Studio. Are you ready? Let's dive in. The first area we'll cover is equipment. If you look into the Facebook groups for Switcher Studio users, you'll find a sea of gadgets, cords, adapters, and complexity, enough to send your blood pressure up and your chances of getting that live stream off and running down. Don't worry, all you need to be able to live stream is a camera, a mic, and an internet connection. If you have a smartphone, you have all three. Technically, you don't need more than that to use Switcher Studio either. You can use your phone as the switcher unit, bring in guests, other cameras on your Wi-Fi network, and even run your fancy graphics. Of course, in order to do it that way all the time, you're going to need great eyesight and thin fingers, neither of which I have. So my switcher unit is my iPad. Again, all I need is the iPad. It has an external microphone and speaker. It has a camera. It connects to the internet, so I'm good. Now, first, we don't want to just stream. We want to look professional. We want graphics and titles, and maybe even an introduction with the title of our stream and a logo. Another element Switcher Studio helps bring to the table is guests. You can have up to 5 other people on your stream with you from other locations, depending upon your subscription level. This is great for interviewing someone, having a panel discussion, or having multiple members of your team contribute to your stream. That happens in Switcher Studio's video chat function. But then here's where Switcher really comes through to make production look amazing. With Switcher Studio, you can have multiple cameras for your live stream. Most people think of live streams as one person talking or 2 people in an interview type situation. But Switcher Studio's multiple camera functionality allows you to have a primary camera shot of your show, a second camera angle. Maybe you have a guest or a second host in the same room, or you want to show your computer over your shoulder as you work. This is actually why Switcher Studio was originally created, to allow for live video production with more than one camera, so the show can switch from one shot to another. It's how live television shows like the evening news or sporting events are broadcast. In fact, hundreds of Switcher Studio customers use the platform to broadcast youth and high school sporting events. You can have a wide shot of the action, cut to close-up shots of certain plays or players, then to the sidelines, then back to the wide shot. For a conference or training event, you can have a shot of the speaker page, a second shot with a different angle, then another camera focused on the presentation. And you can switch from one camera to another as you direct the broadcast. When you're live streaming a podcast or interview show from your office, you can have your main host on camera, a second camera on a guest in the same room, a wide shot of the 2 of you talking, alternative camera angles on you or your guest, and more. All it takes to set up multiple camera angles is additional iOS devices on the same Wi-Fi network using a free Switcher Studio app. That's kind of the awesome thing. All you really need to make more cameras happen is any iOS device and the free version of the Switcher app. You can share the iPhone, iPod, or iPad's camera through the Switcher app with the main Switcher unit. Then the camera appears as an option there. You can get a mount or tripod for your cameras so they stay stable, or you can have other people use the iOS devices as cameras like they're camera people for your production. They can even walk around shooting for you as long as they stay within Wi-Fi range. No fancy equipment, nothing new to buy other than maybe a clip or tripod, and you've got multiple cameras. So you've got the Switcher unit set up, but you don't just want to throw up a bunch of cameras, welcome a guest into the video chat, and go. You need to make sure every camera shot looks good, any that might use audio sound good, and every potential video source is ready for air. Make sure you review each camera to ensure the view is well lit and you can see the subject of the shot well. This is for your on-location cameras and the guest cameras coming in through the video chat. Here's some tips. First, make sure the subject is framed in the middle of the screen, especially if you may use a split screen view, which can cut off one or both sides of the shot. Nothing looks worse than interviewing someone with half a face. Make sure once the person is framed, they know not to move around too much too. You want to ensure they have ample light in front of them so you can see their face or the room you're shooting well. You also want to make sure they have some light behind them so they don't blend into the darkness of a room. but not too much light like an open window with sunlight, or the glare will distract viewers or even force the guest's face to be in the shadow. For anyone who is joining your stream to talk on a camera or via the video chat room, insist that they use headphones or earbuds and preferably an external microphone. People who use the built-in microphone on their computer or on phones without headphones are essentially joining via speakerphone, which is almost guaranteed to cause echo, sounds to cut out, and other problems. I strongly recommend if someone doesn't have headphones, they don't get to be a guest on the show that day. It's that critical to making sure they and you sound good. And believe it or not, you may need to remind them this is a live broadcast. They need to be in a quiet place, free from distraction. I've had pets, children, phones, and even unaware half-dressed adults suddenly show up in my guests' camera shots because they didn't prepare others that they were doing a live video. Before we try to make all that come together for a live stream, let's quickly talk about how it works. I think if you understand what the equipment is trying to do, you can better create ways for the final output to look and sound great. And if you understand how it all works, even just from a high level, you can better diagnose problems that might occur along the way. So you have multiple live cameras as sources. They can be cameras on your Wi-Fi network using the Switcher app, or they can be guest videos that come through the Switcher's video chat function, which is like a Zoom call. You also have your graphics, videos, lower thirds, things like that, which you push live. You have to pull them all into the switcher unit where you direct your broadcast by simply touching the video screen and the video source you want. It's called a switcher unit because that's where you switch from one view to another. You can set your director's view up to preview your next shot. That way you know you have it right. Or you can close the preview by hitting the grid button in the lower left corner to see more of your video sources. You can also resize the grid of your video sources with that second button over next to the grid to fit more on your screen. Just keep in mind they may become harder to see and distinguish, so be careful not to make it too hard on yourself. Switcher Studio has transitions built in so you can choose to cut from one source to another quickly. You can cross dissolve or fade from one shot to another, wipe, cube, and twist. Most news or sports broadcasts use the straight cuts to be able to go fast. I prefer to cross dissolve. Okay, now that we have all our video sources in the switcher unit so we can direct our show, what happens? Well, first you have to tell the switcher unit where to send the program. Under your Outputs tab, you see you can push your program to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn Live, Twitch, or a custom RTMP or stream address. You'll use that last one to send your program to a distribution platform, which allows you to take your one feed and have it go live to a bunch of different channels at once. I use one called Restream to broadcast my weekly interview show on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and on both my pages and the pages for Cornet, the agency I work and host the show for. Set your show's destination and you're ready. Once you hit that big red record button in the upper corner, you're live. Switcher Studio's switcher unit takes the video sources you choose during the live broadcast and feeds the final product, the program view, if you will, wherever you send it. So you're taking a bunch of video sources, putting them in a menu where you can pick which go live, then sending a live feed out there to the interwebs and picking what the viewers see based on what video source you touch in the switcher unit. You are now the director of your very own show. The actual mechanism of directing your show is easy. You simply touch the video source you wish to display on the air, and it appears. You can turn on one or more cameras at once. Add graphics, logos, or lower third titles. You can switch between camera views. And you can play recorded videos, which takes the cameras off screen. The trick to directing a good show is a simple two-step process. First, plan out what video sources you'll use and when. It helps to have a script or run of show to go by. This gives you a piece of paper to follow along with to know what camera or video is next. when graphics need to go live, be taken down, and so on. The second step is to rehearse. You don't want to find yourself fumbling around making mistakes live on the air. So set your unit up and follow your script a few times with a run through. The more comfortable you are having done a show once or twice as a test, the better the broadcast will be when the live button is on. Now, keep in mind, many types of shows like live sporting events or even interviews are not really scriptable. If you don't know what will happen for certain, you have to be ready to switch camera views or resources at a moment's notice. But you can rehearse being ready to be nimble, have the various graphics, videos, commercial breaks, and other elements ready to go, and can practice enough that when you need them on the fly in a live show, you know where they are and can hit the right button at the right time. Many shows like this will have a script written with gaps open in the script for the more impromptu parts of the program. It helps the director not miss any required elements that need to go live, but allows for the flexibility of directing on the fly. Okay, you're ready. Make sure all the video resources you want to use are loaded into your switcher unit. Make sure you've added any multiple camera views you anticipate using during your broadcast. A split screen, maybe 3 cameras on at once, or a nice grid for a panel should be preloaded. Confirm any recorded videos you'll need, like a theme song or intro, are loaded and ready to go. Get those cameras set up, check for lighting and sound. Make sure you're set to push the broadcast to the right place so it will go live. Then hit record and go. Remember that Switcher Studio records your broadcast on your switcher unit, so make sure you have ample space there to store a video the size you'll produce. With that recording, you can fix anything you might mess up during the show and replace the live version later, or you can pull the audio off and turn it into a podcast feed. Yes, we can get a lot more complicated with our live streams using Switcher Studio. You can spend tens of thousands of dollars just making sure everyone has great sounding microphones and multiple audio sources like music tracks, crowd mics, and more are pumped through fancy soundboards into the broadcast. You can invest all kinds of money in fancy cameras, lights, and other video sources too. But you don't need to in order to put together a professional broadcast with Switcher Studio. If you have questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me in the comments here or at jason@jasonfalls.com. You can also join us in the Switcher Studio 101 or Switcher Studio enthusiast groups on Facebook. Thanks for watching. Now go produce your show on Switcher Studio. How about that? All right, we're back live, and so I wanted to address some questions, but I hope that was informative for you, and I hope that you, sort of understand now that you don't need a whole lot of crazy equipment. You don't need a whole lot of technical know-how in order to pull off a good live stream, especially a professional-looking live stream using an app like Switcher Studio. Looking over at the questions, and if you have questions, jump in those comments now and ask them. I'll be on here for a few more minutes to just field questions and make sure you have all of them answered. I see a question from Matt Gentili who says, can you record and download MP4? The answer is yes. I'm not 100% sure if the recorded output downloads. It downloads on my iPad. I'm not sure if it downloads as a .mov or a .mp4 file, but it's easy to convert one to the other. So whatever the output is, it's pretty high quality. It's 1920 by 1080 screen resolution, I think, if you set it up that way. And so you can output those MP4 files or MOV files and then convert them to however you want. I take stuff into, like, for instance, to do the little finishing touches on the video you just saw. I took that into Adobe Premiere and imported it and was able to edit however I needed to edit. When you do live stream, by the way, to YouTube or LinkedIn or whatever network you're going to, that video content is archived there as this is a video that you played. So you don't have to re-upload anything as long as you don't want to edit it. You don't have to re-upload anything. You can go into your content management system in YouTube Studio and your creator management, platform, the back end of your content platform in Facebook and other channels, and retitle it and tweak it and all that good stuff. But as long as you don't want to edit the video, it goes live already. It goes up in your archive already on your social network of choice, wherever you're sending it. So you don't have to worry about all that. Amber Joseph is on Facebook. She asks, is there an Android app? And Amber, that's the one hiccup right now for Switcher Studio. They do not offer Android. I do know that they are working on that development. The original software was built for iOS devices, and that was, again, for event production. So it was really all about having the same kind of device ecosystem so that you could do event production. And so they did not prioritize Android at the beginning, but I have been told a couple of times that they are working on an Android version of the app, and hopefully that'll come out soon. But for right now, if you want to do the second cameras, you have to have an iOS device. Now, here's the key, though. In order to live stream, you don't necessarily, you do have to have one iOS device to be your switcher unit, but you do not have to, as long as you don't have a second camera, you can use any computer's webcam. You don't necessarily have to have a Mac computer to run it. You do have to have some sort of iOS device to do the switcher unit. But if you're not adding extra cameras, then you don't need that. If you have other questions, anybody, just jump in. I want to kind of show off. So this is my camera too. I've got my iPhone here, and I know that everybody's going to want to see this. So I will, I'll do that. And so this is what I'm looking at. And over there's, the comments that I'm looking at. Oh gosh, I'm off here. So there's your comments coming in. And I know everyone would want to see this. It's the Trudy cam, and Trudy is asleep. Hello, Trudy. Yeah, she didn't care. So there's the Trudy cam. So we'll go back over here to me and we can do that. But that's, literally, I'm live right now just with my iPhone using the Switcher Studio app, connecting everything. I hit a button and then I can do this camera anywhere. And if I had a second person in the room, they could have the camera and, walk around your office, your room, your event, whatever you're doing with a second camera for your show. Again, you can, also do the fun little graphics and all that kind of stuff. So Switcher Studio makes it really easy. All I'm doing is touching my iPad screen, and then that goes away. I see some other people, Jessica Moore, Dixie Gilbert. Looks like Charlie Clefus is here as well. So thank you guys for coming in and watching and asking your questions. If you have other questions, I'll stick around for just a couple more seconds. The only other thing I wanted to make sure everybody was reminded of is where to go to learn more, find out more. You can do a free trial of Switcher Studio at switcherstudio.com/falls. When you get to the payment point of it, you can actually put in the code falls and get 10% off your subscription for as long as you keep it current, which is a pretty good deal. Adds up over time. They do have, for those of you who don't want to pay a monthly subscription fee that recurs, and by the way, the entry level, I think, is like $35 a month. So it's not a whole lot of money either. But if you don't want to do a monthly recurring subscription fee, they do have like a 7-day plan for, I think, $20. So if you just want to do an event and then shut it down and then come back 6 months later and do another event, you don't have to pay for the subscription fee. So they've sort of responded to customer feedback and said, hey, some people don't want to do this recurring. They just want to do it every now and then. So they've got payment plans, of course, for that. There's lots of, upgrades along the way. If you need more storage, if you want to do more hours of streaming and all that good stuff. So you can look into the pricing there, but go to switcherstudio.com/falls to get more information, get your free trial, and you can use the code falls for 10% off once you get to the point of signing up. Okay, let's take that off. Looks like that's all the questions for today. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. This lunch and learn, brunch and learn was only supposed to really be about 20 to 30 minutes, and we're still within that window. So I want to let you get back to your Thursday. Do appreciate everybody stopping by. I hope this was really useful for you. As I said in the video, and as I'll say now, please reach out to me anytime you want. If you have questions about live streaming or Switcher Studio, happy to answer or route you to someone who can answer them. I'm jason@jasonfalls.com is the email. I'm Jason Falls on all these social networks. You're obviously probably following me, or you wouldn't have seen this in the first place. So just ask me those questions as you have them. And again, if you go to facebook.com/Switcher Studio or just search for Switcher Studio on Facebook, there's a 101 user group there where you can ask questions. And there's also an enthusiasts group there of people who are a little bit more advanced. That's where you can get those, watching people with the crazy wires and the crazy soundboards and funky systems that they've got set up to make it way more complex than I make it, because I'm not really all that bright sometimes. So I need simple. and this is simple. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the flip side.